Okay, enough with the noise for now. That was with a 2 GB GT610. So it did a average of 28, I believe it said there, and a low of 14. Way better than what I thought it was gonna do in the benchmark. I thought it was gonna do maybe 15 frames. That's crazy. So, what I'm gonna do next. I do want to apologize for this video. I'm not sure if the loud server fans kind of destroyed my mic while I was recording. Not even warm. So I have just had that in for extra cooling. Just a beefy fan. Alright, let's go throw in the GTX 1070, the EVGA hybrid. It has been shunt modded, so it has no power limit. First. Alright, so servers don't have, regular power supplies. So what I got here is a EVGA Supernova. 80 plus, it's just 850. Nothing crazy. Just need to power the GPU. So normally if you're going to be doing like powering just a GPU with a power supply, you would normally have to like hit the green and the black, which is the ground and the positive, to basically get the power supply running all the time without having it connected to the motherboard. And that is just with one of these. As you can see, those two pins there, well, it already has a wire with actual pins. So these right here are made. I think you can just buy them for a couple of dollars. They're very cheap. Alright, so the tests are in. Alright, so the tests are in. So using the Counter-Strike 2 cs2 frames per second benchmark that I always use for my benchmarks, same thing I did with my i7 3770K, with the 1080 Ti, with the i5 2400 and the 1070. So with, just to make sure to show you guys. So with the 1070 and the dual CPU, 8 GB of RAM, was able Okay, so I went straight off the bat. I went into medium because I kind of figured it was kind of the performance of the 2400 as in the frequency, but we had so much more cores. Like we literally had 4 more cores technically, but 12 more threads because the i5 2400 did not have hyperthreading. It only had 4 cores. This has 8 cores, 16 threads, 2 CPUs, 4 cores, 8 threads each. With the 1070, yes, I made it look like a sleeper. I'm going to be putting maybe the 1070 in the bottom here, make it a complete sleeper, so that way all the power will be coming from the back here, and then having the front fully closed, so it's a complete server sleeper. That would be pretty cool. But as you can see, I can already close the lid. I can put this up onto this actual heatsink here, which these fans blow a lot of air through. The maximum temperature that I saw coming from this was like 47 degrees, and this thing has no power limit, so that's pretty crazy. I did put a 400 megahertz overclock on the RAM and a 100 on the core, just to give it a little something something. But so anyway, so I jumped right into medium settings, and then I forgot to actually change the settings from prior. So it was running 1280 by it was running yeah, it was running 1280 by 720, I think it is. And yeah, no, so I put everything to 16 by 9, 16 by 9 full screen, made sure that all that was set, and then I went into low settings. I just started from low settings. Low settings was doing 120 frames with a low of 90, which, what? That's, what? Yeah, a low of 90 over multiple tests. So I do multiple tests, so this was low. This is on low settings in cs2. 120 average with a low of 90 average. So I did multiple tests, and out of all the average, it was averaging about 120 average and about a 90 average for the lows. Now I went to medium. Medium did do a little bit, but not as much as what I thought it would actually do. So the average the average frames for medium was 114. Only dropped 6 frames on the average. But the lows went down to 67. So I was kind of like, it's probably not going to work for high. High was about the same out of all the average. The one test I did have a bit of a hiccup on it. I'm not sure if that was my part on it or whatnot. I did set the motherboard so everything would be running full bore. As you could definitely probably hear, it was pretty loud, and it just kept getting, the fans just kept going until it went to full bore eventually, because the CPUs only want to go to a max of 65 Celsius. I think these CPUs only go to want to be a max of 65, so they'll run to like 80 plus, or 80 or 85, I think, something like that. Then they'll shut off. But yeah, so it'll ramp up the full speed on fans at about 65 degrees on the CPUs, which is not too bad. On high settings, like I said, it was crazy. Like, it barely dropped anything. So very high. So I wanted to make sure very high was good. Very high was odd. Very odd. It was getting 96, 95, 96, 95, 96 on the average. But the lows were 77, 86, 77, 88, 77. So I averaged it, I just basically averaged it over to about 82, and yeah, 82 on the low for very high, 16 by 9 full window, everything set to the absolute max. I may have to revisit this. I'm not sure if it is due to the no power limit mod on the GTX 1070. I'm not sure if I run like hardware monitors and stuff like that on it, that it will impact the performance. but I'm pretty sure it's just using the one CPU for the game, and whatever it's using in the background to whatever it needs to do in the background, it's basically just using the secondary CPU. And the secondary CPU does not clock as high as the primary CPU. So there's primary and secondary CPUs usually when you have these. You can tune them usually with some motherboards, like let's say we go with an SR2 or SR3, I think it is, from EVGA. I would love one of those boards. Oh, I almost bought one last year for a good buy, but I didn't pick it up. I picked up something else instead. But yeah, if you can tune them so that way you can get either the primary CPU to be clocked higher, that'd be awesome. So what the max I was able to do was 1333 megahertz for the RAM, 8 gigabytes like I said. The maximum turbo boost on these are 3 gigahertz. That's 3 gigahertz all core it was doing, like all cores on the primary. On the secondary it was sticking to about 1600 on all cores. When I was out of games, everything was bouncing all over the place, of course for the secondary, but the primary I locked it, so all cores would be 3 gigahertz, 2.93. But when it was with the RAM done up like that, it tweaks it a bit to 3 gigahertz. Kind of nice. It is kind of nice. Probably why I was getting some decent scores. Still not sure how the very high settings, like cranked settings, was doing that. But all in all, yeah, making it a little bit of a sleeper too. That was kind of nice. Let me know in the comment section below if you would like to see me take the actual power supply. So the 2.5 inch hard drive base that I have down below, I don't utilize those at all for the actual server, so I could just take out that slot. If, let's say, Kioxia or whatever, I can find some good deals on some of the 2.5 inch. They're high speed stuff. I'm just looking for their higher speed. Yeah, this is not the fastest system, but having those higher speed SSDs would be a lot nicer to have in my actual storage server that I'm doing, which will be running Unraid. If anyone would like me to show how to set up the Unraid and why I bought Unraid, the choice that I made for Unraid as well, let me know in the comment section below. I hope you all enjoyed this video of literally 2 CPUs and a GTX 1070 running cs2. If you would like me to run the dual CPU server with the 3070 Ti in it, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know how many frames it's gonna do if I do it. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment, and don't forget to get her done.